Greetings from a very windy and not so sunny Spain. In this case, we are here in the Circuit of Barcelona, Catalunya for the last round of the 2025 Formula 4 Spanish Championship. And who would be with me today, now that we're at our home race, but my good friend Santi Torres, Spanish commentator. I know that the English crowd maybe don't know you so well, but of course this man is the one who calls the shots in the races in the Spanish commentating team. Santi, I'm so happy to have you here with me. And of course we have to talk about what an amazing season we've had. We've had a great season. We have a great protagonist in Thomas Strauben, who comes here with all his homework done already.
Yes, all the work done. He's already thinking, I think, in next year. But we have to finish here. First of all, hello everybody. I didn't say it. I'm polite. Sorry. I have to say hi at least. Well, Thomas Strobel, amazing season. The best driver of the season, not only
By
because,
far.
not only because he has won the championship, but he's been so consistent. That's the best part, and the thing that he can carry on through all the stages until he gets, hopefully, to Formula 1.
That's what his goal should be. We know that he's managed by a former Formula 2 driver, Beyi from the Formula 2 Palmer Audi. Those who have better memories will remember that. So, of course, being managed by a Formula 2 driver, a former driver himself, of course, this is always a good thing for a driver. But I think what we've seen, you've mentioned that very well, Santi. Very consistent, very quick. He's never been necessarily extremely dominant in terms of going 5, 6, 7 seconds away from the rivals, but he's always been there. And being there always in the Formula 4 series, it's very hard. Not many drivers have been there. It's true, though, that we've seen many drivers this year doing something similar. René Lammers has often been there. Ian Eggmans has often been there. Jan Prioski has often been there. But not necessarily every race and every weekend. They have depended a bit more on whether Campos was competitive, if they were feeling better, and only one guy has been there. But we have had a lot of good drivers who have been there the whole season, and who have given us a lot to think about.
And they are fighting for second place.
Exactly.
I think the difference between, in this case, Strowman and the rest is that Strowman has been calm all races. He stepped down the car, and well, he was
calm, collected, as cool as a cucumber.
Yeah, he talked to you like we are talking now, so he's always calm.
That was the most impressive.
The rest, Lammers and Prioski, they were a bit nervous, especially on track, because Prioski had incidents. Lammers
I'm remembering the race starts from Jan Prioski. Maybe that sore point that he should try to improve. We'll see what happens this weekend.
Well, that's why we have feeder series. They have to prepare themselves in order to...
Important to learn, because sometimes we think about the results, and we should think of the results, and they think of the results, but fundamentally this is a place to learn, to become a better racing driver for the future.
Exactly.
Now my question is, when we talk about learning, we have to talk about Ian Eggmans, who has of course been the rookie of the season. He has already won the rookie of the season. He's in a season that should have been a lot about learning.
But he learned a lot.
He's learned it 6 months ago.
Yet, from the beginning until now, the learning curve has been amazing. He's been stepping up every race
Always
after
there.
every race. Yes.
That first win in Jerez, of all places, 1 year after that being chosen by the Richard Mille grant scholarship for 2025, that is a dream come true for him.
Yep, and I think he can carry on with this pace, with this mindset, because it's all about mindset, not only in sports car or racing cars, but also in every sport. Yeah, and in life, if you stay focused, you will get your results.
Exactly. So, Santi, I'm going to put you a little bit on the spot. I'm going to ask you to bet for who do you think is going to take that runner-up spot in the championship?
For me, it's René Lammers.
René Lammers.
His eyes are set on second place, and obviously 2026. Yes, 2026. He has spoken about it, about being in the
big sister in Eurocup 3. That's great.
But maybe he wants to earn this second place. I think will be quite a result.
He needs to do it. My bet is probably Ian Eggmans. I'm very impressed with the rookie. But of course, we'll find out on the last 2 races of the season today. And Santi, thank you very much. We'll be checking after the race, see who has to pay each other our vegetables. We've mentioned this with Kai as well. We send our biggest regards to Kai on the other side. So, Santi, if you think that's the right thing to do, Kai, it's off to you, mate.
All yours.
Championship hopes and dreams all come down to this one day. Drivers will either triumph or crumble under the pressure, with only 2 races to round out what has been an ecstatic championship for Spanish F4 in 2025. I'm Kai Bacini, and I'm going to be taking you through the final day's action here for the F4 Spanish Championship. And if the racing yesterday was anything to go by, we have a brilliant day of racing ahead of us, and I can't wait to get right stuck into the action. As we've mentioned time and time again, championship winner has already been decided in the Belgian of Thomas Strauven. He wrapped up the championship last time out in Valencia and Jerez, but it's all still to play for. Second in the championship, it's a very close battle. René Lammers and Ian Eichmans have both been going at it for the past few races, trying to secure that runner-up spot in the championship. But it's anyone's game and anyone can take it. This is Spanish F4. Expect the unexpected. Curves balls will be coming your way, and that will all happen once the drivers hit onto the circuit. We do apologize for the unseen delays of this race. A little bit of a few technical issues and delays on the circuit as well. Unfortunately, does mean that we start these races a little bit later on, but that just builds the tension and just makes all the drivers that little bit more anxious for the actual race start, which will be underway shortly. The circuit underneath them, the Circuit de Catalunya of Barcelona, known as the home of motorsport in Spain. It was established in 1991, and in their first few weeks took home to the first Spanish Formula One Grand Prix. 4.6 kilometers of action, 14 corners of medium to high downforce and very high degrading and very high tyre wear circuit. So a lot that the drivers have are playing on their minds over the course of a lap. They need to take care of their tyres. They need to be fast. They need to be furious. They need to be accurate. And that's all that it takes to be a winner and be victorious around this iconic circuit. If we look at the actual results from yesterday, we had the qualifying yesterday. Well, we didn't have qualifying yesterday. That's the part. Our starting grid for yesterday's race actually came from the free practice results, which saw Thomas Strauven and Jan Perjovsky on the front row of the grid going into yesterday's race. And the conclusion and what we decided was going to be the most fair option for the starting grid of race 2 today would be the fastest laps from that first race would determine the starting grid for today. And that fastest lap went the way of Renault Franco, who we thought would have retired from the race a little bit earlier on as he pulled into the pit lane a few laps into the race. But actually, he came back out towards the end, fresh set of tyres, fresh boots on the car, and a fresh mindset. Saw him take home the fastest lap of the race and therefore taking pole position for race 2 as well. So let's see what the Dutchman is able to do from pole position, as it seems to be the favoured spot over the course of this weekend. We've seen it in the Big Sister Championship of Eurocup 3. That pole position very much works in your favour, and we saw it yesterday as well, as Thomas Strauven was able to take home another dominant victory. After the race yesterday, Alex Garcia spoke to our race winner, and Thomas Strauven said he is confident that we're going to see him on the podium again today, but only time will tell. There is still 2 more races and plenty of points up for grabs, a grand total of 42 if you are able to take home both race victories, and that is enough to sway the championship in any single way. The battle for second right now, it is being led by René Lammers on 220 points. Ian Eichmans, he's on a grand total of 195. Keep an eye on Jan Perjovsky as he jumped up to 4th in the championship yesterday on a grand total of 195 points after a great second place finish, and also some unfortunate finishes from his championship competitors around him. So that did boost the odds in his favour and get him back in the running from what was going to be a mathematical opportunity to get second in the championship, but maybe not a realistic opportunity. That has all changed. Ever since the race yesterday, the door has been blown completely wide open, and there is 3 men that can all take home that second place in the championship. If we look over the race results from yesterday as well, as we mentioned, it was Strauven that took home that race victory from Jan Perjovsky. Ian Eichmans took home another podium to take his grand total of podiums up to 10. Thomas Strauven as well took his grand total of wins up to 10. So double figures across the boards for the 2 of them. Yeah, it was going to be Miguel Costa that came home in 4th, with Noah Montero in 5th. Nathan Ty finishing 6th from Hudson Swartz. then Christopher Vigali, Caras, and Kota were your top 10 in the first race. Outside of the top 10, it was all a bit muddled up and it was all jumbled up, especially with that fastest lap coming into play. Drivers outside of the top 10 and outside of that point scoring position were all diving into the pit lane left and right, coming in for a fresh set of tyres when they could to pick up a fresh set of boots on their car and gun for that fastest lap. The driver, obviously, that took advantage of that the most was Renault Franco. He did finish last and 34th on the grid, but with that fastest lap in his favour, he'll be starting from the front end today. And let's see if he's able to take advantage of that in race 2 as well. 34 cars on the grid. It is going to be pandemonium. It is going to be chaos, but that's exactly what you'd expect when you tune in to a Spanish F4 weekend. And that's what makes it so unique. All of these drivers learning so much in terms of racecraft and learning so much in terms of their junior formulas for their progression steps later on in their career, whether that be Eurocup 3 next or into the FIA rankings. There's so many drivers in this field right now that have the potential to make it far in their motorsport career, and this is only the beginning. Alex mentioned it just before in your promo video, Thomas Straubing. Remember the name, engrave it into your brain, because that is one man. I say man, he's only 17 years old. That is going to be a prevalent force in motorsport and will be fighting his way through the rankings. So I'm excited to see what he is able to do in his motorsport journey, because this definitely is only the beginning for him. If we keep an eye on the championship order, it's already secured at the top. Still plenty of opportunities in the rest of the field. We're very shortly actually going to hear from our correspondent on the ground of Alex Garcia. He's got the eyes and ears in the paddock, and he knows what's going on in the driver's mind, what the atmosphere is like, and what the tension's like down there on the grid as well, as I'm sure the drivers with these 40 minutes of delays will be eager to get out onto the circuit and racing. And I do have confirmation that Alex Garcia is now joining me from down on the circuit. Alex, a few delays before this race got underway, but now we can finally get racing. Tension has surely been building. What's the atmosphere down like there on the track?
Hello, Kai. Good morning. And absolutely, drivers are raring to go. But before we get all focused on the sport, I have to say, look at the sky, because you said if the weather was bad, it was my fault, and it is very sunny. So I think I've redeemed myself. I've brought the sun back to the Formula 4 Spanish Championship, and we will have a fantastic day for racing ahead of us. But no, drivers are definitely looking forward to racing. Qualifying this morning has been interesting. That is the qualifying for the third race of the weekend. And of course, I'm sure that you have reminded our viewers, but the grid for the race 2 was formed by that very unusual qualifying session that ran at the same time as the race 1 yesterday, which is interesting. We have some different grid orders than usual. And as I said, drivers have been quite eager to get out on track, because delays are never good for anyone. They happen. Of course they happen. But when delays are happening from the start of the day, everything is piling up. So it is possible that we will have further delays later on, as the other categories are also on track. So, you know, keep an eye on that for the rest of the viewers, because time schedules will have to adjust a little bit.
Tensions is rising and building, as you mentioned. But Alex, I'm glad you brought the sunny weather with you today, because yesterday you tried to pin the blame on me and say that the dark and dreary skies was because of the British weather. I'm still here home in England, so if there's any problems with the weather, as I said last time, pin it on this man here. Alex Garcia is your point of contact. Any complaints about the weather, go to him for it. But sunny skies, I can't help but notice though, on the track, there is a few damp patches. It's been wet this morning. It's been raining overnight. So the track will still be a little bit green and a little bit slippery. Never mind that sun in the sky.
Yes, exactly. We basically took the chance just before we were connecting with you. We took the chance to go and feel the track directly, and it was wet. That is on the side of the track, of course. Keep in mind that we are in the main straight, and the main straight has the grandstand, which of course throws the shadow on the track, so the sun hasn't had the chance to dry it, as opposed to the rest of the circuit, basically. But there are some wet patches that have been important in qualifying. They will still be important now, and perhaps more importantly, we've seen some incidents in the previous races from other classes because the track is in a tricky condition right now. So drivers know it. Drivers have been on track. This is not a surprise for them, as opposed to these other classes which already had their qualifyings yesterday and they were only racing and therefore driving for the first time today. Formula 4 and later Euro Cup 3 drivers have had their qualifying. They know probably where those wet patches are. The big question for them will be which wet patches have dried out and which ones have not. This will mean that the sighting lap and installation lap, I should say, and the warm-up lap will be crucial because they will have to observe everything they can and feel everything they can. Probably those that feel the most on those laps will have a little bit of an advantage. That said, as you mentioned, Kai, very green track, a lot less grip, not just for the dampness, but also because all the rubber that we had throughout the weekend is pretty much gone. So those are extra challenges. The settings have had to change. They have had to adapt. And as you can probably notice from my clothes, rustling a little bit, my hair as well, there's a bit of a crosswind in the main straight. This doesn't matter so much here, but it may matter down there in the braking point.
Yeah, so weather conditions definitely taking a factor into today. And also, with it being a little bit of a shorter race for the first race, not as much time for the drivers to feel out the circuit and get to grips and get used to the actual conditions underneath them. So I don't know about you, Alex, but for me, I feel like that's really going to create a separation with who is able to adapt with the track conditions the quickest.
100%, and keep that in mind. We had this qualifying this morning, and we did not necessarily see the usual suspects at the peak of the table. For example, Thomas Strauben struggled a little bit. He will be starting last race of the weekend and the season indeed from 7th place, same as this one. So that means that not necessarily all the usual top drivers will be the quickest now. So you add that to the fairly different grid order from usual, and you have a cocktail that's definitely spicy. We have, of course, the two drivers starting from the first row, who I think should be considered probably the biggest favorites for the race right now. We know that both Alfio Spina and Vivek Kantan are quick. They showed that from the Spanish Winter Championship all the way throughout the season until now. But we have a wild card, a black horse, potentially dark horse with Rocco Coronel. Remember, he's making his debut in the class in the Formula 4 Spanish Championship this weekend. He will be a factor next year. Of course, son of racing driver Tom Coronel from the Netherlands, and he will be a factor in this race, so he could be a factor. He's starting from third. We know that he's quick, and why not? He could have a dream debut this weekend with a good result on a race that has maybe fallen a little bit more on his side. But again, dampness, different conditions, anything can happen. I'm not going to say the top 15 can win, but why not any driver from the top 10 could throw a surprise to us?
Well, I feel like yesterday's race is definitely a good benchmark to go off. There was a lot going on, especially with the qualifying session taking part in the actual race itself as well. But one big name, one titan that had fallen yesterday is René Lammers. Obviously second in the championship right now. He's competing for that second place spot with two other drivers challenging him now in Jan Piriowski and Ian Eichmans. Both drivers getting a very good result in the first race. Lammers, he has to be nervous now, surely.
I think he would normally be nervous. I know just from knowing his personality, I think he will be able to leave that aside for a while. I think when drivers get to this kind of situation, at the end of the day, they can, let's say, unplug their brains a little bit and not really worry too much, because they know that there's nothing much to lose. You either win it or you lose it. And I mean, this sounds kind of obvious, but when you're thinking of a whole season, you need to think of what comes next and what comes next weekend and 1 month from now. But this is the last one. This is the last weekend of the season for them. And therefore, if you just play it safe, that may not be enough. So at that point, I think René Lammers, who tends to be a quite calm and collected driver, he should be able to just think about the result he wants and push for it. Now, will he be able to or not? That's an entirely different story, and it depends on how comfortable he is on these conditions. He's been fine this morning, but again, race is a different matter. You need to get past a few people. So also remember that there's less points to play for in this race than the third one. So That's the key for the weekend, isn't it? Seeing how René Lammers was probably the big favorite for the weekend is going to be able to deal with that. I say big favorite for the weekend, I mean for P2 in the championship. But let's see about that.
Oh.
Another thing that I want to mention to you, Kai, remember that there's this points record. 21 races this season, 400 points. That was the record from Nikola Tsolov. I imagine that Thomas Strauben will be taking a few risks if he wants to get to that score.
Well, Strauben currently on 347, so needs to get a total of what is going to be 54 points total over the races if he wants to get himself into that points total title, as you may say, from Tsolov. But back to René Lammers, qualifying earlier on, he qualified 8th on the grid. That's going to be for race 3 later on, obviously. But that first race definitely hindered and was a little bit of a knock to his start to the weekend. Does Lammers play it safe? Does he play the safe game? Does he not get involved in any risky battles? Does he just play the wild card and just take home some safe points in these 2 races? Or does he go all out, Alex?
I think on this one, he won't necessarily go all out, but I don't see him playing it safe. From where he's starting, if you play it safe, you just gain 1, 2, 3 points. Is that enough? I think those 1, 2, 3 points are worth gamble. You know, you gamble those 1, 2, 3 points, and maybe you gain 7 or 8, or maybe more. So I think it's worth for him to take a risk. Now, what would I do? I would go all out. I think that's what you have to do as a driver. This is not a title they're fighting for. And some drivers will come to you and they will say, you know, publicly, let's say, I don't really care about being second or being third. They kind of do, because they want to get as many points as they can. Because if they get as many points as they can, they mean they have very good results and many good results. And any driver wants to finish the year in a high. So what reason is there to play it safe, is there? I think he'll give it his all now, especially on the third one, but also now, honestly, I think he will.
Well, at this stage in the season, every single point counts towards your total because there's only 2 more races. There is no going back. There's no redos. There's no more races after this. So after these 2 races, that is your points total, and that is where you finish in the championship. So it's a harsh reality, but the drivers really need to start thinking about that. And for some drivers, they'll even start thinking about next season, especially the likes of Thomas Strauben, as he has nothing to worry about in these 2 races. He's going to want to do the best that he can, but next season is going to be a thought into the back of the mind of these drivers.
Absolutely, and I think while I think many are thinking of next year, I think this is a perfect opportunity to just say, okay, for the last time this year, let's not think about next year. Let's just focus on the now. Let's just enjoy the racing. Let's just throw everything we have to the wall and see where we get. And for drivers like Thomas Strauben, who has already won the championship, of course, that is the best opportunity. And I'll tell you what, I've noticed Thomas Strauben, and we've talked about this in some of the races. He was always very serious. When I say very serious, I mean it in the best possible way. Calm, focused, concentrated. But this weekend, he's a little bit more relaxed. He's a bit willing to make some jokes, you know, to smile a bit more. And that is a sign of a driver whose tension is just gone. Now he can just go out and have fun. And when a good driver who is quick when focused and under pressure gets relaxed, we can see something really special. So that's what he'll want to do. He'll want to prove that with no pressure, he's even quicker than when there's pressure. This is a very good opportunity to do it. Starting from P7 now, starting from P7 later. If he makes it, we all go to the winter saying, well, you know what? He's great in any kind of circumstance. That is the message he wants to send.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, Alex, because that's one thing that I definitely noticed yesterday was Strauben just looked so comfortable in that car and so confident yesterday in his driving. I don't think we saw a single mistake from the Belgian out in front. It was a lights to flag victory. And even when his teammate of Jan Perjovski was putting on a little bit of pressure, it just didn't seem to phase him at all. Obviously, in that race yesterday, Griffin Core by Campos Racing also wrapped up the team's championship. So the atmosphere down in the paddock, Alex, from your perspective, must be something special.
Absolutely, because also keep in mind that Griffin Core confirmed the title, of course, the team's title yesterday. So now there's no reason, let's say, to play it safe for the team. It is true, and Thomas told me that a couple of days ago. He said, well, one of our objectives is, of course, to get Jan on the podium so that he can also have that chance to fight for the runner-up position. So I don't think he will necessarily help his teammate at his own expense, but this is something that the team is thinking about. What may this be in practical terms? That is a great question. It may be perhaps setup information. Maybe things have been a little bit more loose in that sense this weekend. One driver is already a champion, the other one is fighting for that runner-up spot. It could be things like that, but I've seen maybe 1% more collaboration between these drivers. Again, keep in mind that drivers in these categories usually they drive for the same team, but they're not necessarily best friends because yes, they get along, but you have to fight for your own interests.
Well, Alex, you're on dual duties this weekend with the Spanish broadcast as well. I've already got the call that they want you over there, and I don't blame them because you've got some great insights. So thank you very much for your time, and I'll let you go over to the Spanish broadcast. Always great to hear the latest from Alex Garcia down on the ground. Last time Spanish F4 was here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. It was a great race indeed. We saw 3 winners over the course of the weekend. Well, 2 of them being the same driver, that being Mateo Carnaghi, last year competing and winning in the Spanish F4 Championship. This year, he's won the Eurocup 3 Championship, and this weekend, also racing out in the Macau Grand Prix, and a great result from him indeed, finishing 4th place this morning. So a very well done, and a big round of applause from everyone here at the Spanish F4 Championship. And it's great to see our young talent develop further into their racing careers and watch them grow as drivers as well. Mateo Carnaghi, a name for the future, and one that is a very talented and special driver indeed. Similar to the likes of Thomas Strauven, who will be lining up from 7th on the grid. I can't remember the last time we saw Thomas Strauven start from so far back on the grid. It feels like every weekend we see him only on the front 2 rows of the grids. And that's exactly how Thomas Strauven wants to keep it. A little quick phone call back home there on the grid. And why not there for Coronel as he grabs the phone, has a little wave there. And I'm sure we'll be speaking to some of his friends and family on FaceTime. But it's such a nice atmosphere this weekend. It doesn't seem too emotional, and no tears have been shed just yet. But everyone with a smile on their face and happy to be here for one last dance in the Spanish F4 Championship. There is Nicolas Schaeffler. He'll be starting from the 2nd row of the grid in his KCL MP Motorsport car. Red Bull Junior colours and livery is on top of that as well. The safety cars now make their way to the back of the grid. And as you can see, a very full grid as well, as we'll soon start to see some of the personnel depart as we get ready for the start of racing action again. But what a race this is planning out to be. As we mentioned, 34th and last in the race yesterday, but starting on pole, Renault Franco will take us away with Victor Cantan in 2nd, from Coronel in 3rd. Schaeffler, Rieber, Petrovic, Strauven will be starting down in 7th position. Then Peneta, Lammers will be in 9th, obviously still competing for 2nd in the championship, looking to scrape up any points possible to go in his favour, and it will be damage limitation for the rest of the weekend. It was 0 points scored in the first race, and it's as many as possible in the 2nd and 3rd. I'm sure his team will have sat him down and said, look, we need the best out of you this weekend. We can't be risking anything. We can't be doing any risky moves and potentially getting another 9-point score and finish. But we need a nice haul of points out of these 2 races if you want to secure 2nd in the championship, because Ian Eichmann's, the Richard Mille Young Talent Academy shootout winner, is raring and eager to go. 3rd in the championship, another podium to add to his tally in yesterday's race. And also being the leader of the rookie championship, the highest rookie overall, 3rd in the championship right now. The next rookie would be Noah Montero. He's 8th in the championship in his Campos racing machine. Still been a very, very good season from Noah Montero, showing some great bursts of pace The Portuguese sensation has put in some great battles and some great stints over the course of the season, clearly showing that he has won for the future. And even for the moment, you may say, top 10 in this grid is still very respectable, especially with the talent level that we have. The 15-second board is out, which means that drivers now need to click into their racing mindset and get themselves focused up for the start of this race. Only one light left on the gantry. As soon as that light goes out and it goes green, we can get underway with a crucial formation lap. As me and Alex mentioned earlier on, this formation lap is going to be so important for these drivers to get a feel of the circuit. The track will have evolved a little bit since their qualifying and last time out on the circuit this morning. The safety car takes us away, and drivers are now underway. So, under the safety car, we're let go for the formation lap. It looks like we've got lights on the gantry, so maybe this won't be the start of the formation lap and we'll go around again. We'll have to wait and see what happens here. Either way, drivers are released onto the circuit underneath the safety car, weaving left and right, trying to get a heat cycle through these tyres as quickly as possible. And it's not easy to do at such low speeds, as there will be very little load being put through these tyres, which means that it's hard to transfer heat and warmth into the carcass and the surface of these tyres as well. Track temperature looking to be quite low at the moment at about 18 degrees Celsius. We do also have confirmation that it's going to be a safety car start for this race. So a single file start. We won't get away from the grid, and this will work in the favour of the drivers up the front end. Renault Franco will be licking his lips at this, and he'll be loving every moment as he doesn't have to worry about getting jumped so early off the line into turn one, as Franco to an extent can control the pace of all the drivers behind him, and control is exactly what he needs. Renault Franco, he has been a very quick driver over the course of the season and shown some great bursts of pace. 3 podiums so far to his name, and also 1 fastest lap to add to that total. So let's see what Renault Franco is able to do from the front. We normally see him kicking it around from the mid-pack and gaining a few positions throughout the races to get himself a good haul of points. But now he is the man in charge. Behind the safety car, he calls the shots. Let's see if the number 11 can deal with the pressure, and can he take home that grand tally of 18 points to add to his total. Franco currently 5th in the championship, a little bit far off Piryovsky in 4th, as there is 73 points that separate the two of them. So 18 points, mere damage to Jan Piryovsky's gap backwards. So it looks like Franco can't do much better than 5th in the championship right now. Will be led around off the start once again. One more lap under the safety car, it seems to be. So plenty more time for these drivers to get some heat into their tyres. Very aggressively weaving left and right, using as much lock on the steering as possible, working these tyres to the max. With low surface temperatures on the circuit, drivers have to put in extra work to make sure that their tyres are race ready, especially off a safety car restart, as you don't get that burnout off the launch. Oh, one driver in the pit lane, that's Emma Felbermeyer. So Emma Felbermeyer into the pit lane, and it looks like the hood cap is off that front Nassau panel. So a little bit of work being done to the front Nassau panel there of Emma Felbermeyer, that front wing. Maybe a few issues underneath technically. Either way, the 55 pulls into the pit lane. One of the Roden Motorsport cars. Obviously, the other Roden Motorsport car being Nathan Tye, the British sensation throughout karting, but his second season in Spanish Formula 4. Coming into this weekend, spoke to Nathan Tye. He said his goal for the weekend, he would be very happy with a podium if he's able to walk away with one. And I don't see why not. Anything can happen here in Spanish F4. Nathan Tye, he's had a race win so far this season and 2 podiums to his name. Who's saying that it can't be 3? He's starting a little bit far back in this race though. Nathan Tye will be taking it away from 22nd on the grid. So it will be a tall order for him to take home a podium. But as we mentioned, expect the unexpected. The safety car breaks away as the lights are off. And Renault Franco is now assigned the role of the safety car. He's the one that controls the pace of the drivers behind him. And it's all mind games at this point. When does he hit the accelerator? When does he decide to go? It's all up to the discretion of the Flying Dutchman up front. And he goes now, it seems to be. Renault Franco punches the accelerator out of 13. And now through 14 we go. Race start. As soon as they cross the line, it's gloves off. And racing is underway to start the penultimate race of the Spanish F4 season. Let's go. Renault Franco breaks away. Great start there off the line as he seems to get a half a second gap back to his competitor Victor Cantan already in the mid-pack. We see a few drivers getting involved as Kirill Kutskov tries to get on the inside. Going defensive there is one of the Red Bull Junior drivers as well, was trying to sneak on the inside. That looks like that was going to be Matthias Rieber as Rieber tries to pick up the position on Schaufler. Schaufler wasn't having anything of it down into turn one as he was weaving right, squeezing to the inside, and it looks like he's just about covered off that position for now. In the background though, battle's still raging on. We just saw in behind the 77 of Petrovic that Lammers made a move down the inside of Panetta. So Panetta is going to drop down into 9th, and René Lammers trying to make the most of a chaotic start. Talking about chaos, here comes the 33 of Kutskov again. Kirill Kutskov is not wasting any time of getting his way through the field as 20 minutes plus 1 lap is ticking down on the clock. 10 minutes less than we normally see. These drivers don't have much time to sort themselves out in order, but it's been a dream start from Renault Franco. As we mentioned, he definitely has the raw pace, and he's not going to struggle with that at all. But a few mistakes creeping in over the course of the season has definitely what has hindered the number 11 in the KCL MP Motorsport machine. So let's see if he can keep a solid head. Can he keep a steady head on his shoulders? And can he keep this car in the lead? MF Elbermeyer still having troubles in the pit lane. And that's not what you want to see for the number 55. By the time these drivers cross the line, Felbermeyer will now be a lap down with only 1 lap competed. So down the home straight we still go. Defensive in the background. That's going to be the battle still going on for 5th position right now. Down the inside. No waiting around as Straubing tries to get the move done on Rieber, and he'll get the move done no problem. So Straubing, the number 99 of our championship leader, using his experience to get himself through the field. Obviously competed in Spanish F4 last season, wasn't able to take the title and wasn't pleased with that at all. So he takes another shot at it, and he's done it this time round. That was René Lammers also making his way past Panetta, as Lammers still getting involved in the battles and making his way through the field as well. Alfio Spina has just dropped down into 10th position with Lammers making his way through. Yellow flags are out onto the circuit. Who's that that's caused the yellow flags? We're not too sure. As down at the back end of the field, it looks like we've had Fiorentino and Bogdanovic go off. So Filippo Fiorentino and Alexander Bogdanovic both off the circuit. That's unfortunate for the DriveX and GRS drivers. Safety car is out. Safety car is out on the circuit. So racing will be neutralized. And we go once again. Renault Franco currently holding the fastest lap of the race. Obviously, it won't be fastest lap this time round with the safety car being out. But with already 1 restart done under safety car, well, the race start technically done under safety car. Franco has the experience, he has the knowledge, and I'm sure his nerves will be a little bit more calmed knowing that he's done it once before. There is the retirement from the number 37 and the 70 of Filippo Fiorentino and Alexander Bogdanovic. So Bogdanovic and Fiorentino off the road. That is what's brought out the safety car. Both beached in the gravel trap. I do wonder what happened there between the 37 and the 70. Something bubbling over, and both of them having to take a retirement from this second race. There is still one more race for them to return, and redeem themselves later on this afternoon. So I'm sure their sights will be focused on that as they look forwards to hopefully a better race later on. But under the safety car once again, it's Renault Franco. Let's get a little bit of an update on our standings at the moment. The fans all out in force right now as what seems to be a very full grandstand watching along for this final round of Spanish F4. That was so smart there from Renault Franco, a textbook restart and one that's been used through the ages ever since the likes of karting. Young drivers will be using that technique. Franco weaving left and right to off-put his opponent and make them think that he's not going to restart just yet. And as soon as his opponent thinks that he's not going to go, that's when the accelerator is punched. And Renault Franco used that strategy to perfection. Just a few replays there of what is René Lammers cutting his way through the field. He's up to 8th right now. So recovering from a bad starting position and into a point scoring position right now. But an update on the order. Renault Franco in the lead right now. Weaving left and right. Stroll trying to maintain that heat that he's accumulated over those first few racing laps. Victor Cantan in second. From Coronel in third. Nicolas Schaufler. And Thomas Straubing is already up to 5th position. He's up 2 from 7th. Matthias Rieber in 6th. From Andrei Petrovic. René Lammers in 8th. Then Panetta and Spina are the ones that round out your top 10 right now. Lights are still on the safety car, so we won't get going this time round. But Renault Franco will have his eyes peeled on those flashing yellow lights on top of the Nissan safety car. And for the rest of the drivers, they'll be creating a little bit of a game plan in their head of where they will be able to pounce and where they'll be able to gain positions once this safety car lets them loose like wild animals out of their cage. Renault Franco heading the field. And with only 2 more races left in this championship as well. Renault Franco, he's not secured yet for 5th in the championship, as Juan Cota is very hot on his tail. Only 4 points that separate the Dutchman and the Spaniard. Obviously Juan Cota, the Spaniard, on home ground this weekend. But Juan Cota also finding himself a little bit further down the order than he would have been hoping for, down in 25th right now. So Renault Franco taking all the points he can get, I'm sure, this weekend, as he's trying to secure that top 5 championship finish. He's had 3 podiums so far this season, has Renault Franco. Obviously, those 3 podiums coming his way last time round in race 3 in Valencia, also race 3 in Paul Ricard, and our first race at Portimao. So, sporadic podiums, I think it's fair to say, for Renault Franco. They don't come as often as he would have been hoping for. He definitely has the pace to have more, but a bit of misfortune and a few mistakes from his end has stopped him from getting a few podiums that we should have maybe seen there from the Dutchman. There is Filippo Fiorentino's car getting taken out the gravel trap and moved off the circuit to make sure that we're able to get underway with racing action. All of the marshals, same as yesterday, doing a brilliant job out there on the circuit. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be able to go racing. And they've been on the ball this weekend and been clearing all of the incidents, making sure that there isn't such a hindrance to the racing on track. I think it's fair to say only 2 laps under a safety car to actually clear away 2 broken down cars is an amazing job from the Orange Army. But it's not just the Orange Army of the marshals, it's also the Orange Army of MP Motorsport that have been strong this weekend. Not strong enough to take home the team championship, and that goes the way of Griffincorp, that have managed to win that on home ground as well. Obviously the Spanish team have taken home the team's championship thanks to Thomas Straubing and Jan Periowski's results yesterday. So I'm sure a very happy atmosphere, in the garage between all of them. if we have a look at the history of the team's championship, Campos Racing have won the championship before, but it's never been won by Griffin Corps, by Campos Racing. So there's a first time for everything. A first time for Thomas Straubing winning the championship in Spanish F4, and a first time for Griffin Corps to take home the title in Spain. MP Motorsport notably dominant in this category. Ever since Spanish F4 has been circulating in 2016, we've seen MP Motorsport win 6 out of those championships since 2016. So it's always good to see another team getting involved in the mix and showing that they are proud and worthy of taking home the title. 10 minutes has just been broken on the clock, which means that we're over half race distance and only 2 laps of racing action has commenced so far. Hopefully we can get going once again shortly. The marshals doing the best job they can to get rid of these broken down cars in the shortest way possible. Lights are off, and that will be music to the ears of Renault Franco. As Franco has struck gold, a little bit more weaving. Make sure that the tyres are race ready and warm for racing conditions. Will Victor Gantan be able to respond to the restart this time from Renault Franco? Will it be the same strategy? Will he differ this time? There's only one way to find out. He's weaving left and right. Gantan keeping his car poised as a pencil. Through 13 and 14 we go. Gantan responds better this time. Out of the final bend. Franco's not going to have it so easy. Remember, the attack button is still available. 15-second boost can be used by Gantan to help him keep on the rear end of Renault Franco. But Franco still looking confident out in front with breathing room back to the number 2 in second. In the background, down the inside, it looks like Alfio Spina is trying to pick up another place as usual, as Kirill Kutskov is taking advantage of this restart. Jan Piryovsky, he did get the move done on Spina down into turn 1, as he gets himself up into P10 right now. But Renault Franco, confident as anything. He's got the fastest lap under his belt, and the pace is just immense out in front, as he's managed to eke out a 7/10 gap back to Victor Gantan in second right now. As still the battles are raging on in the mid-pack, as Kirill Kutskov is just watching long, as Spina is desperately trying to get back past Jan Piryovsky. But Piryovsky is not having anything of it. There's your leader, the number 11 of Renault Franco, in a league of his own right now. Victor Gantan looks to have broken away from the 2 Red Bull Juniors in behind. That will be a menacing feat to see in your wing mirrors if you're a racing driver, especially if you're in second position. Was that Nicholas Schaufler going a little bit wide? Yes, it was, and that's left it vulnerable to the likes of Thomas Straubing, as Straubing will love to see that as well. So out in front, it's Renault Franco still leading the way. I do apologise for the correction on the name. It's Vivek Gantan in second. So Gantan still peering down the rear of Renault Franco. Franco has a quick check in both mirrors, knows that a threat isn't in sight, hits his brake marker, gets his car rotated in. Look at René Lammers. He's not looking so comfortable out in front though, as he's got a great gaggle of cars out in front of him. Lammers, he's got most of the work done early. The dirty work is out of the way, and now he just needs to pick them off one by one. As carving through the field, Lammers has been doing a great job at that so far this race. So, through the midsection of the circuit we go now. There is the number 9 of René Lammers on the back of this gaggle of cars. That is an 8-car battle. That is including Renault Franco, of course. Let's say it's from 3rd down to 8th. So that's Coronel, Schaufler, Straubing, Rieber, Petrovic and Lammers, all battling for what could be 3rd position on the road. But Renault Franco, just so calm and confident out in front. A collective race from him, dust being kicked up in the background as off the exit of turn 9, one driver dipping a wheel in the gravel trap and creating a smoke screen for everyone in behind. This battle, though, nothing really kicking off just yet. All the drivers seemingly an equal gap between each other with about 2 or 3 car lengths separating each of them. And Renault Franco, I'm sure, will be counting down the seconds in his head. Every single time he crosses the line, he'll be hoping more and more time has been knocked off the total time. But down the straight we go. The circuit to Catalunya in Barcelona. A very rare feat. Do you see a timing tower on the home straight where the drivers will be able to actually see their position during the race? It is the only track on the Spanish F4 calendar where the drivers will be able to see that when they make their way down the home straight. So a weird feeling as a driver. Often when you're racing, especially from my experiences racing in karting in and around the European scene, a lot of the times you don't know where you've actually finished until you pull into the pit lane and ask someone around you or check the live timing on a phone or on the laptop. But this time round, drivers will be very aware of their position. And one driver aware of their position and aware of their pace as well is Jan Peryovsky. As Peryovsky seems to have found something underneath his machinery in the Griffin Court. It was a second on the road yesterday. Ooh, a little bit of a dummy down into the hairpin. That forces a mistake. That forces a lock-up there from René Lammers on entrance. Not often do you see such a large feat. The dummy played perfectly from Jan Peryovsky. Nervous under the braking zone was René Lammers. He clearly felt that his intentions were clear from Peryovsky. He felt that Peryovsky was going to dive down the inside. And harsh on the brakes, a rare mistake from René Lammers. And that finds himself well vulnerable to Jan Peryovsky now. Surely it's only a matter of time until this overtake is actually sealed and delivered. The 23 peering down the rear end of René Lammers right now. If we look at the actual results between the two of them, it's fair to say that René Lammers has been the most successful driver out of the two of them, with 4 race victories to his name, 3 race victories to the name of Jan Peryovsky, both on 9 podiums apiece, both having that fastest lap as well. Fastest lap award actually going twice to Jan Peryovsky. So you could argue on raw pace that Peryovsky is the faster of the two drivers. But that isn't what it bubbles down to. Is he the smarter of the two drivers? That's exactly what it comes down to right now. And clearly asserting his dominance right now. Down into the hairpin of 10. Will we see another look to the inside? No, but Lammers goes defensive. This time he commits. There goes Jan Peryovsky on the switch, so he gets a better drive on the exit. René Lammers will contend. Side by side through 11. Contact between the two of them. Off the road goes Lammers. And will he catch the wall? Yes, he will. Lammers into the wall now. And that will be the end for the Dutchman. Second in the championship. Contact between him and Peryovsky. The tension was bubbling up, and now it's bubbled over as into the wall and tumbling down the order goes René Lammers. Jan Peryovsky, will he feel guilty? I'm sure he won't. He feels that that racing line was his, and René Lammers, he thought that bit of track was his as well. But 2 into 1 never goes when you're fighting for the same piece of tarmac, and René Lammers, unfortunately, coming off the worst out of the two of them. Well, oh my word, it was all looking to be such a great battle between the two of them. Yellow flags are out on the circuit, but will a safety car need to be deployed for the recovery of Lammers' car? He's out of the car and he's okay. That is the main thing. Let's get a replay of this battle once again. It was a brave dive down the inside, but Jan Peryovsky was committed. On the outside, he found himself now through 11, but into 12. The question is, did René Lammers turn across the number 23? as Jan Peryovsky, I'm sure, will argue that he had much more than a half a car alongside his competitor. So based off the rule book, Jan Peryovsky had every right to be on that inside line. Did Lammers get a little bit desperate there? Or was that just a racing incident? We'll leave that one up to the stewards. But either way, fireworks in the penultimate race of the Spanish F4 Championship. Just as we said, the battle was starting to heat up. It definitely heats up. And if you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen, as they say. Down the home straight, Renault Franco out in front. It's been a dominant race for him, 2.6 seconds. He will be blissfully unaware, of anything that's been going on behind him. And it's only after the race he will find out about the chaos that has been unfolding behind him. The clock strikes 0, and that does mean that the next time we cross the timing beam, that it will be the last lap of what has been a very eventful race, I think it's fair to say. Still, on these last 2 laps, battles could form. We're keeping an eye on the 99 of Thomas Straubing, as Straubing has managed to get himself up into 5th position now. And if you look, the number 23, if you didn't notice it earlier, but damage seems to have came the way of Jan Peryovsky, as Peryovsky has tumbled down the order just a little bit now, down into 8th. So that contact not going in the favour of either of them. I'm sure the arguments will go both ways, and that is one argument to be settled in the steward's office. Down towards turn 10, we've seen this before. Down the inside, Straubing's committed. He's there, but straight on the defence is Nicholas Schaufler. Schaufler committed to the inside line, side by side. They still are. They keep it clean, and it looks like Straubing, he's going to look for the switchback. He can't get there. Great defence there from Schaufler as he holds on to the position, proving why he's the Red Bull Junior driver out of the 2 of them. Obviously, Thomas Straubing notably was signed by the Red Bull Junior team in November of 2023. Just 7 months later, he was dropped from the programme. And what a villain arc it has been, a revenge story for the ages, as Straubing has went on to win the Spanish F4 Championship. He has a little look to the inside there, filling the mirrors of Nicholas Schaufler. I thought he was going to go for the move for a second, but all the way to the line. I'm sure this battle will not be decided until the final moments. Here we go again. Straubing, with all this battling going on, now sees Rieber in his mirrors as Rieber wants a piece of the action. The number 19 creeping in as well. So Schaufler, defensive, middle of the circuit there from Straubing. Straubing just testing his luck, seeing if a gap opens up, trying to force a mistake on Nicholas Schaufler. We saw it before. Lammers fell for the dummy and made a mistake earlier. But more battles happening now as Petrovic is under some pressure from Peryovsky. As Peryovsky is trying to regain some of the time he lost earlier on. Oh, a little bit tentative out of turn 9. You have to be careful, Nicholas, because here comes Straubing on the outside. To the inside. He's going to get there. Straubing's going to try it. Can he get the move done? No, he can't. Schaufler with great reaction times and great defense. There's nothing Straubing could do to try and turn the tides in his favor. But as they make their way down towards 13 and 14, it's a standing ovation for Renault Franco. Another race victory to put under his belt. But you can't help but applaud what was an outstanding battle all the way to the line. And it was great respect between the drivers. And amazing sportsmanship between Nicholas Schaufler and Thomas Straubing. What looked like there could have been multiple moments where there could have been contact. These 2 drivers kept it completely clean and showed us some of the greatest wheel-to-wheel action that we've seen all season. Oh well, if you think that the reduced race time means there's going to be less action, this just proves you wrong. What a race that was. It was Renault Franco that walked away with a dominant victory. 3.2 seconds over Vivek Kantan in second. It's going to be Coronel that comes home in third. Nicolas Schaufler just about fends off the fiery Belgian in fifth of Thomas Strauven. Matthias Rieber thought he might have got a little bit of a look into the battle, but he comes home in sixth. From Andrei Petrovic, Jan Peryovsky tumbles down to eighth after contact with René Lammers. That contact has also been noted by the stewards between cars number 23 and car 9. So that will be looked at by race control. But either way, Jan Peryovsky comes home in 8th. Christopher Fagali in 9th. And it's Panetta that round out your top 10. An incident in turn 5, including car number 27, has also been noted by race control. Car 27, that being the Monlau Motorsport machine of Alexander Jacobi. Alex Jacobi being the last to cross the line, so maybe an incident there that also didn't pay off in his favour, but he'll cross the line in 30th. All our top 3 after what was an eventful race, and one that saw a huge name fall from his throne, René Lammers. He was carving his way through the field, gaining position after position, trying to recuperate some points from what was yesterday a non-point scoring finish. And to kick off Sunday, it's another non-point scoring finish for René Lammers. That will be a huge hindrance to his championship and a huge knock to his confidence as well. He's only got one more race to recover. And not what he would have been hoping for at all. The only silver lining that he can take from it, though, is that Ian Eichmann's third in the championship, his closest competitor, did finish outside of the points as well, as he came home in 17th. But that man there, we were applauding his pace over the course of the season, and it had to come at some point. But Renault Franco brings the car home in first for his first win of the season. He salutes his team, and as he should be very, very proud of this one. He'll go over, embrace the team, embrace his friends and family. For the 18-year-old Flying Dutchman, it's been a long-awaited win this season, and a great way to do it in the final round of the championship. It's better late than never for Renault Franco, and one that will be very special and will mean a lot to him as well. His competitors there, Coronel, will embrace our race winner, and they'll have a little bit of a chat and a debrief of that race. But Renault Franco, clearly, visibly very happy with the race and with the result. And you can't knock anything from him. He controlled the race from lights to finish with 2 brilliant safety car restarts where many drivers would have crumbled under the pressure. Renault Franco rises from the ashes, and for the first time this season, aloft the first position board to get his photo taken. A big grin on the face of the Dutchman, and for his first time this season, we'll catch up for a word with our correspondent on the ground of Alex Garcia. Let's get a few replays in the meantime, though, of that race, and many a replays that could have been put into this camera angle indeed. Thomas Strauven, as we mentioned, he started 7th on the grid. He was cutting his way through the field, trying to gain as many positions as possible, inevitably finishing in 5th. But it could have been so great for René Lammers, whether it not be the contact with Jan Peryovsky. But it was contact nonetheless that saw him departed out of the race and out of racing order as well. However, with the highlights going on down in Parc Fermé, I'm sure Alex Garcia is down there with a new winner this season and a very happy Renault Franco.
Exactly, a new winner here in Formula 4 Spanish Championship, and a pretty popular one, Renault Franco. Congratulations for that first win. It was, of course, a different qualifying session than usual, but you had to go there and you had to do it, and you did it.
Yeah, exactly. Yesterday we had a quite good free practice one, which put me in P3 for race 1. While in P4 in lap 2, I unfortunately suffered an engine issue, so I had to box, and then we were like yeah, let's put some new tires on, let's push for race 2. And I did a really good lap, setting the fastest lap in race 1, which meant pole position for this one. Of course, it was a bit tricky starting behind the safety car due to a bit of wet patches on the track, but I feel like I maximized the result. And yeah, the car was really on fire today. We've been on it all weekend, so yeah, it tastes like more.
You mentioned the wet patches. Was it that bad really on the start?
I didn't really see. I mean, I didn't really feel any on the racing line, but I'm pretty sure there were some off racing line. So maybe for the rest of the competitors it was a bit tricky, but yeah, I didn't suffer any loss from it.
Winning is always good, of course, but on top of that, with this win and scoring extra points, you are inching closer to being the best of the rest in this season after the title contenders. How does it feel for you?
Well, of course, it's of course a good feeling, but of course I wanted to be in a title contention. But we had some issues in the beginning of the season, which unfortunately prevented me from being at the top. But well, here we are. So yeah, I'm quite happy. But of course, I want more.
They say that you're worth as much as your last race. In this case, your last round. Happy for 2026?
Of course. I mean, I'm looking at opportunities for next year. So first, I want to maximize this weekend, and then we'll see.
Okay, Renault. Congratulations. Time to enjoy the win, and good luck for the next one.
Thank you very much.
A new race winner here in Formula 4 Spanish Championship, one that is very, very happy. And let's not forget, and we're watching, of course, these images on our camera, big important results by these teams, by MP Motorsport as well, which will put them in a nice position, at least to finish the season on a high. There's still one race ahead, though, and those are the ones that we have to think about as well, because there's still some points to be gained, still some results to be decided, and more than anything, that fight for the runner-up spot in the championship still not very clear after that retirement by René Lammers. And those differences in points between those drivers are very, very small right now.
Well, Alex, that battle for second in the championship has just got that little bit more tense now after two non-point scoring finishes for René Lammers, who was second in the championship. We have to talk about that incident. That is crucial, as Lammers will be desperate for a good result in race 3 now.
Yeah, exactly. That's definitely going to change how they have to approach that race 3. Although this is a bit what I was saying before the start of the second race of the weekend. When you have nothing to lose, at that point you just need to go out and give it as much as you can. Now, of course, they will probably have some, let's say, plans in mind to keep informing the drivers or on the rivals' positions, because if you don't need to take a risk, don't take it. But if you need to, they're definitely going to. I mean, I know that René Lammers, of course, being ahead in terms of points, that'll mean that he has to manage that situation. The others, though, I think the others just need to go out and push as much as they can. How far they get, well, that's what will change René Lammers' race, really. Because if his rivals are further behind, maybe he doesn't need to risk it. If they start recovering positions, well, that's a different story.
Well, it is very interesting that the tension bubbled over there in that race, because that incident was between René Lammers and Jan Perijovski, two drivers that are battling for that runner-up spot in the championship. So we'll have to see what happens in race 3 later on this afternoon. But a big smile on my face, a big smile on the face of Renault Franco as well. Alex, it's been a long time coming, but I think a very deserved winner today.
Oh, definitely deserved. And he was saying it himself better than any of us could. He had some issues at the start of the year that probably hindered him from having a better season, of course. And who knows, maybe could have even been a part of the title fight. And that wasn't the case. And I think for drivers, when they struggle like this, these wins taste all the much sweeter, because they know how hard it has been to get back to these places.
Yeah, and that will be a huge confidence boost for him as well. He's still young, only 18 years of age, and now a Spanish F4 victor. That is definitely something to put on your resume as a racing driver. But Alex, still one more race to come up. Obviously, we've had the qualifying already for that race later on this afternoon. Alfio Spina, he's going to be taken away from pole position, but only 14th in this race. Do we reckon he'll be able to stay up at the front end?
the $1 million question or €1 million question, since we're of course in Spain. I think he has a chance to. If he has been quick, then he has been quick. But my doubt is whether he'll actually have the consistency, if he will be able to keep the tires. So it's all those small details. I'm sure he will be quick at the start. The big doubt is, the big question is, will he be there 5, 10, 15 laps after the race start? Well, I guess we have to wait and find out.
Well, Alex, thank you very much for your input. We're just watching the drivers now make their way out onto the podium for the celebrations.
Fuerte aplauso para estos tres pilotos y para su equipo. Y ahora es el momento de ganar esos trofeos. We will present the trophies for the winner team. Lo presenta el señor Joaquín Veterario, vicepresidente primero de la Real Federación Española de Automóviles. Trophy for the third position will be presented by Mr. Tom Connell. Todo queda en familia. La primera celebración de los héroes del campeonato está en la Fórmula 4 con la serie de Connell. Vamos a ver cómo. Second position, trophy will be presented by Mr. Christopher Towers from PCS Race. El representante de PCS Race, Christopher Towers, expiloto del gobierno de los y también vinculado de los comisarios a las zonas nuevas que gran honor. El trophy for the winner will be presented by Mr. Joaquín Veterario, vicepresidente primero de la Real Federación Española de Automóviles.
So now, with all of the trophies being handed out to the drivers, a couple of photos will be taken, and I'm sure it will be quite a while until we see that smile wiped off the face of Renault Franco. A result to be very much proud of, and a great way to round out his season. Who knows? He could take over another race victory this afternoon, starting third for the third race later on. Nothing stopping him. The Flying Dutchman clearly has the pace to be up at the front. As the final photos are taken, the celebrations can now very shortly get underway. The bottles of bubbly on the podium are eager to be popped, and I'm sure Renault Franco will very happily celebrate his first victory in the Spanish F4 Championship. The bottles are popped and the champagne is sprayed as all the drivers will now celebrate their victors. And what a race that was indeed. Multiple moments that just show what is to be expected from the third race later on this afternoon. Renault Franco still celebrating with his team and his competitors as well. But what a race that was indeed. It was only 20 minutes of racing action, and we'll see another 30 later on this afternoon. We've seen drivers triumph. We've seen drivers fall, but what's to come from the third race this afternoon? Well, you'll have to wait and see. Make sure to tune in later on for the final race of our season finale at the 2025 Spanish F4 Championship.